Hey guys, welcome back to the Spooky Swamp podcast. I'm Jess, and this is my first solo episode for you guys. As we mentioned a couple episodes back, Josh and I, to put out more content out for you guys, um, decided on doing some solo episodes for you guys here and there. They'll randomly pop up. We can't give you an exact schedule of when they'll come up, but it'll be special treats for you guys here and there. Be kind, because this is my first time doing anything similar to this, of just doing like a solo episode. I've never done a solo episode when it comes down to podcasts. Back in college, I did participate in the radio station on campus, but it was just basically playing some music and talking here and there, which I am used to talking to you guys. So before we dive in, I wanted to tell you guys a little couple things. So the movie we're going to be reviewing is The Babysitter, The Killer Queen. This is part 2 of The Babysitter. So Josh has never watched this movie, but I have, and I took a liberty of rewatching it for you guys literally right before this, just to have it fresh in my mind for you guys. Wrote a couple bullet points, and yeah, we're going to give it a go. So, firstly, I want to start off with on Rotten Tomatoes, it was a 46%, and for the popcorn meter, it was only a 57%. That means the audience and the critics didn't really like this movie. But I have to strongly disagree, because I actually really enjoyed this movie as much as I did the first one. The first one needed to happen to have a second one, but I felt like the first one did so well that they figured they could go ahead and do a second one. It was a couple years later until they did a second one. I think it was like 2-3 years later that they did a second one. They didn't do them back to back. But anyways, let me give you guys a little story of what happened last night, if I may. Just a little sidebar for you guys before we dive into the complete plot and summary of this whole movie that I'm going to try my best to regurgitate out for you. But last night I did not get great sleep. I have these issues sometimes that I get sleep paralysis. If you don't know what that is, it's like I get stuck. I think it's sleep paralysis, but it's like my body gets stuck, and then I feel like I see something in the corner, like a figure, something there in the corner, and it always freaks me out, right? So I can't move my body, I can't do anything. Finally, when I can be unstuck, I like start screaming, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of the main actress of this movie, B, how she has that blood curdling scream. According to Josh, I have a blood curdling scream as well. So usually when I'm fully getting out of one of my episodes, I start screaming for him, right? So then Josh, he turns on the light, he comforts me. He says, what's wrong? Sometimes he'll run in and say, which leg is it? Because I used to get really bad Charlie horses, and I would tell him to pull my leg. So the very first time he witnessed me getting a sleep paralysis episode, he came running in and he was like, which leg is it? Because he was prepared to like just pull my leg. Josh is a trooper. He's a great guy. Well, now he knows that I get these sleep terrors. I'm not too sure why I get them. I think I have sleep insomnia, so I'm pretty sure. I have no idea if it goes hand in hand. Who knows? a lot of people tell me different theories. Stress, other things, etc., the normal shit. And then I have one friend that he always says that means you're doing well in life and somebody is preying on your downfall. And all I'm saying, if it has anything to do with that, I apologize to whoever you are. I apologize for what I said when I was hungry. I didn't mean it. So please, if you have my voodoo doll, be nice to her. Take some stuffing out of the stomach and let's make up and move on, because this is enough for me. All right. Well, I'm going to get back into it after that little sidebar for you guys. So, anyways, this movie contains all the same characters as the first movie. If you did not listen to the Babysitter episode, please click off, go listen to that episode first, and then come back and listen to this episode, because I'm reviewing the second movie in order to kind of understand more of the other characters. Definitely go watch that. Listen to that one. Sorry, not watch it. Just listen to it first. And my sweet, sweet husband, Josh, is on that one. So, yeah, you'll listen to both of us. We also discussed on, reviewing some TV shows for you guys. So if you guys have any recommendations of horror TV shows that you want me to watch and review for you guys, I think that's probably the best type of solo episodes I can do for you guys, because I'm the type of person that if I find something very bingeable, I will sit there until like 5 a.m. in the morning just devouring the show. Whereas Josh is like, he can watch max maybe 3 episodes and then start to fall asleep. He is not really good at like binge watching shows. I think there was only like 2 shows that I've ever made him binge watch with me. Actually 3. One of them was the last season of Stranger Things. However, that one did come out in parts, so if you want to count that, you can. If you don't, I understand, because they only came out with like 4 episodes. The first, I think for Thanksgiving, it came out with the 4 episodes, and then Christmas and New Year's, which you suck for putting that out on the holidays, because instead of spending time with the family, I'm like, F you guys, I gotta go watch Stranger Things. I dipped out on my family by like 8 p.m. just to go watch Stranger Things. It was Josh, me, and my cousin that were like, all right, we're going home. We're going to my house to watch Stranger Things. And everybody's like, where are you going? What's that? Or we're like, nope, we have to leave. Sorry, we're leaving you. We're going to watch Stranger Things. Because the internet spoils it for any of those shows. If you don't watch it the same day, it's going to be spoiled by TikTok or just anywhere on the internet, Instagram, any of those platforms. Speaking of Instagram, we are on that. So just look up the Spooky Swans podcast. I have not been good at posting. I think it's been over a month that I have posted anything. So I've been a very, very, very bad girl when it comes to that. So I need to figure it out. I don't know. I need to set a schedule, time for me, something, anything. I have been taking on a couple other little projects, side projects, like trying to sell things on eBay and any of those little markets just to make a little extra income. And I think the Instagram kind of got put on the back burner. I'm not really good at social media. I'm kind of like, I like to keep to myself. I don't really like to post anything. I have a lot of extended family members that they're extra bothered if I don't put anything on the internet. So I think it's like my pettiness of being like off the grid a little bit. Unless you're like in my immediate circle, then you're gonna obviously know what Josh and I are up to, obviously, but we kind of keep things more to ourselves. If you guys hear anything, it usually is here on the podcast or if we reveal things, but those family members don't listen to this or know what we're up to. So, we just keep things in between our immediate circle. And obviously my coworkers always know what I'm up to because you actually become very, very close with your coworkers. And I'm very fortunate to have coworkers that like we really genuinely feel like a family, like a dysfunctional family. So, all right, getting into it. I don't think I've gotten into it or started at all for you guys. I apologize for that. So, anyways, we begin where it ends of the last movie. So you see a flashback of Cole sitting on the curb and his parents rushing in, the fire department and everything is there. And he says, I don't need a babysitter anymore. Then it says something along the lines of like 2-3 years later, and you see him have PTSD. He goes to pour himself a glass of milk. The milk turns into blood. He backs away on the ground from it. Then his dad is like, you all right, bud? And then he was like, oh, yeah, I'm okay. And then he sees Max pop up. And then he freaks out. He wakes up from the dream. And then realizes it was all a dream. Then it goes into where he is at school. And he's talking to what looks to be a therapist, right? He's just like reminiscing on this whole cult stuff that happened, and you just see like flashbacks of the past, and he's just reminiscing on that, and pretty much everybody thinks he's fucking crazy because no bodies were found. He crashed the car into, if you remember correctly, again, if you have not listened to our other episode, please click off and listen to the Babysitter Part 1 first, and then come and listen to this episode afterwards, because none of this is going to make sense to you. Unless you have watched the movie, then yeah, this will make sense to you. So either one or the other. But anyways, he says he's crazy. Is it crazy that he misses B? He's telling this whole story to his therapist. His therapist is basically like the school counselor at the school, and basically just tells him like he just needs to get laid. Long story short, he just needs to get laid. And at first he's like comforting him a little tiny bit and says, yeah, like you're just a scared freshman. And then Cole goes, no, I'm a junior. And then he's like, oh, perfect. You just need to get laid. You just need to get some pussy. So then after that, you see him in the gym. Oh, actually, backtrack before that. Sorry, guys, it's me by myself, so I don't have Josh to kind of jump in and fill in the little holes and pieces that I will miss, but bear with me. So, so he's in the gym. If you remember the other episode, he also was in the gym, and then he gets hit by a ball again, and someone calls him pussy. So the exact same thing happens, but Cole's older, obviously, still a nerd, still a scared little child, man-child. Well, I guess he's not a man yet. Then we see sweet Melanie. She's blossomed, and she's still just really, really nice to Cole. She's the only one that's nice to Cole, actually, to be honest with you, because everybody else thinks he's a psycho, he should be locked up, he's mental. Basically, because there was no bodies or anything found, everybody thinks that Cole kind of just went crazy. And to an extent, he did go crazy. He's on medication. His parents are afraid of him. They think he's really crazy also, which sucks. But, and then to be honest with you, like, I think his parents made him crazy. Like, I blame them the most because, first of all, they don't believe their kid. And secondly, they coddled him too much. They babied him way, 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 way too much. Which is, yeah, that sucks. I don't know. But I've always seen like kids that get coddled too much, I guess you would say. They always do tend to not grow up faster. They do keep their innocence a little more and stuff. And I guess that's good in a way because then you're not forced to grow up so fast. But then, yeah, those kids do tend to get bullied, unfortunately. I do remember in school, like those um, kids like that getting like bullied or separated from others, or they were kind of just like to themselves. So don't get me wrong, in high school, I was a little bit more to myself. I had my few friends and that was it. Did my own thing. Obviously, made some enemies on the way, along the way, but obviously, everybody has enemies. You are an enemy in someone's story, and they are an enemy in your story too. So, anyways, getting back to it before I get sidetracked again. So, Melanie's talking to Cole and stuff, and he's like, you believe me, you were there, right, Melanie? And she's like, Cole, like, didn't they tell you not to talk about it anymore? Like, pretty much move on from it and not discuss it anymore. And he was like, but you were there and stuff. She was like, yeah, I was, but I didn't really see anything. She was like, I just remember that night of like us kissing and stuff like that. She's trying to be like cute. But then this is when we meet a couple of the new characters that come into this movie. We meet her boyfriend and her boyfriend Jimmy, who's total douchebag, which no surprise. Then we meet her two other friends, uh, a girl named Boom Boom, or they just call her Boom Boom. I don't know why her name's Boom Boom, but oh well. Maybe her parents didn't really like her. And the last one is Diego. So three of them, they start like jumping around. They take her away from Cole. Cole's left there by himself. Then he's back into the classroom. This is where we meet Jenna Ortega's character. This is the other new character that gets introduced in this film. And if you know anything about me, I am a big Jenna Ortega fan. A lot of people are not the biggest fan of her, I guess, because personally, I think people are just haters because she is an amazing actress, but people, like, their bone to pick with her is that she's in, like, a lot of shit. They just keep casting her and everything. But I'm like, well, yeah, she's good. She's good. She's easy to work with, I heard, and she's just a really, really good actress. Like, the same thing with Zendaya. I just think that they're really, really good actresses of this time. But yeah, I get it that some people get tired of seeing the same person over and over and over again. But at least it's not Sydney Sweeney. She's in a lot of shit. And she kind of only has one personality when she acts. So I don't know where she keeps getting casted. But yeah, she keeps getting casted. That's an actress I'm not too crazy about or too fond of. But, to each their own with your own opinions. So, anyways, Jenna gets introduced to the class. She starts telling three facts about her. Her hair is like weird, too. Like, you could tell that she's just like weird. And she just says something along the lines of that she's late, her period is late, and she doesn't know, but she thinks she's going to keep it, meaning that she might be pregnant. And then she says, "Oh, I just love seeing all you smiling faces. It just makes me want to scream." And then she just starts screaming this loud scream. So everybody's like, the fuck is wrong with this bitch? This bitch is crazy. So that's the little snippet of meeting her. You find out Cole's parents want to ship him away to, I guess, to get extra help because they're a little freaked out by him. Like the dad especially like was talking about how he kind of is freaked out by Cole, and they just feel like he's just fucking crazy. And while this is going on, I think the dad walks in on Cole like having a video chat with Melanie, and she's telling him about like the lake house and stuff and like why not coming and stuff. And then she sees like a lotion bottle on his dresser, and she's like, "Oh, what's that for?" Like this movie is still like horror comedy, so it has a lot of like cringy elements, I guess, to an extent. So he was like, "Oh, nothing. I have dry elbows, whatever." Dad walks in and he sees him holding the bottle of lotion, and then sees that he's talking to Melanie, and starts like embarrassing the shit out of him and saying like, "Oh, I could get you a different lotion to like masturbate and stuff." So that's when Cole closes the laptop and was like, "Oh my God, like, Dad, get out," kind of thing. And then his dad was like, "No, it's cool that you guys are talking. So, like, are you a thing?" And just being awkward about the situation and stuff. And then his dad basically asked Cole, like, if he still thinks what happened happened. And Cole was like, "Well, yeah, you always tell me to be, like, truthful and speak the truth." And he was like, "It did happen and stuff, but..." So the dad was kind of getting him to like say it like really didn't happen, like, or like just kind of move on from it and forget it. And he was like, "No, because you would be basically telling me to lie, and it's not a lie, and I'm not lying," type of thing. So then you see it cut to the mom and the dad talking, and they're already making the decision that they are going to be sending Cole off to like, I guess like a home, somewhere to get him help, where you send your crazy kids to get help. That's where they're planning on sending Cole. And in the morning when he goes to school, they basically tell him, "Oh, we're going to be picking you up during lunchtime." So he already knows. He kind of like overheard, and he knows what's about to happen. Mind you, Cole is on a lot of medication to help him with his paranoia and his craziness because no one believes him. Poor kid. But that sucks to not be believed at all. I feel like, so I'm a prankster at work, and I've always been a prankster. That's just how I keep it light at work. And there are times that I actually don't do the prank and someone thinks I'm messing with them. And I just think that's their paranoia taking over. And sometimes that is my prank, that I'm just having them be paranoid because I absolutely didn't do nothing. And yeah, pretty evil. So I was telling my coworkers the other day of my older job, my job before this current job, that this girl found this weird pen at her desk and thought that I was pranking her. And I actually did not do anything. And everybody was like pulling me aside and being like, "Yeah, no, but seriously, like, when did you do it? Like, I won't say anything." And I'm like, "No, I didn't do anything. And I'm telling you, I didn't do anything." No one believed me. Everybody was like, "Yeah, right. But like, you did do it, right?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "That, first of all, that's a lame prank. That's not even a prank to leave a cool, weird looking pen in someone's desk." I was like, if I had a weird, fun looking pen, I'm going to keep it for myself. I'm not going to give it to someone else. Long story short, that coworker ended up throwing out the pen because she thought it was like bad juju or something. But I was like, "All right, well, that's on you, but I I didn't do anything. Well, they never believed me, but whatever. So I always find it funny when people don't believe me when it actually wasn't me. But that is basically the case with Cole. Like, no one believes him. He's still trying to have people believe him. But I think after a certain point, you just have to be like, whatever, like, I know that it happened, but if you don't want to believe me, like, basically, I don't care. Like, oh well, I don't care. And I would move on from this, but to be fair, like, people were trying to kill him. So I guess it's fairly different from somebody not believing that I didn't do a prank. So, all right, where are we at now? Let me get back into it. I'm sorry for being sidetracked so much. That's just how it goes. All right, so parents want to ship him away. Melanie wants to go down to the lake. She's like, everybody's ditching. We're going down to the lake. She's like, I took my dad's car. And originally, Cole is like, oh my God, you took your dad's car. Like, again, he's still innocent at this point. Like, he's a little nerdy, sheltered kid. And she was like, yeah, like, come with me. Like, I believe you and I believe in you and stuff. Come with me and stuff. So at first he's like, no. But then she was like, all right, think about it and stuff. Class ends. It's about to be lunch. His teacher says, hey, they want you to report to the principal's office. Your parents are here to pick you up. He already knows what's going to happen. Melanie pulls him aside at the end of the class. She was like, well, now it's time for you to choose the red pill or the blue pill. Like come with me to the lake. And luckily he chooses to go to the lake with Melanie. So it's either be trapped in prison or go to the lake with Melanie. So he goes with Melanie to go to the lake. He jumps in the car, like they have this cute little they hold each other's hands. They say they're best friends and whatever. And then it's ruined when Jimmy, Boom Boom, and Diego come to jump in the car to ride with them. And yep, it's over. And then Melanie's like, sorry, like it was last minute, but yeah, like they're coming, but we're gonna have a fun time. Don't worry about this. Right before they leave, Melanie does see that Cole does take medication and he was like trying to hide it from her. And she was like, to be honest with you, everybody's on something. And she starts pointing at everybody, saying what they're on. Like this kid's on Adderall. This person's on antidepressants. Everybody's on a little something. Like there's nothing wrong with that and stuff to put him at ease. And then Phoebe comes up again and he's like, well, what's she on? And she's like, I don't fucking know. But apparently there's this rumor going around that she killed her parents. And then you see Phoebe from a distance open her locker. And in her locker, she finds this little stuffed animal bunny. And that has a key and a note that says it ends tonight. So she looks freaked out, right? But anyways, it cuts back to them driving, and then they stop at a gas station to go get snacks and everything. They're having, a cute little moment, him and Melanie, and they're just being like really cute with each other and stuff. They're friends and everything. He goes to check out his stuff at the end, and he was checking out the attendant's boobs, and the attendant's like, "Oh, you're looking at the condoms," and pretty much makes him buy it. And she was like, "Oh, you're gonna get basically you're gonna have sex this week with that girl." And he's like, "No, she has a boyfriend." And she was like, "She's into you. Like, come on, dude." And then she upsells him like $100 for this stuff. And he takes them. He takes the Magnum condoms. So they leave, they go to the lake. At first, everybody's like on the lake, having a good time, having fun. Cole takes a pill because he's having a little bit of an anxiety attack because he's out of his comfort zone. And then he's like, oh, I think I should just call my parents. I don't belong here. I think it would be best for me to go to go get help, pretty much. Everybody thinks I'm crazy. I am crazy, and I'm weird. I don't belong. And Melanie's like, no, like, you're my best friend. You're good. Like, we're going to have a good time. Like, don't worry. Like, I promise you, we're going to have a really good time. Like, I believe you. I believe in you. You're innocent and everything. And they just have a moment. And then he tosses his pills into the lake and he goes off with Melanie. They get on a boat. They're having a good time. Cole is a little bit like to himself, but that's okay because, he's out of his comfort zone. Now they are playing cards around a circle. Anybody that picks up the same number of cards, they go 2 minutes in the closet to like make out. And so him and Melanie draw the same card. So they get shoved in the closet together. And they end up making out. And, and everything is just like cute and fine up to this point for the most part. But we all know it has a little horror in it. So it ain't going to be good too much longer. So, yep. So then Boom Boom takes them out. Boom Boom, such a weird, funny ass name. Like, why? Anyways, Boom Boom takes them out of the closet, catches them not kissing, and she was like, well, that's boring. Brings them out, and then Diego starts talking to him, saying like, oh, so you went crazy, and talking to him about like, wasn't there like a blood cult and stuff, and asking him like all these questions. And then Melanie's like, no, stop it. Like, he doesn't want to talk about any of that. Like, Cole didn't come here to talk about any of that. And we're not going to discuss any of this. And Cole doesn't want to talk about like killings and cults and a devil book. And then at this rate, Cole was like, how did you know about the devil book? And she was like, well, you told me about it, Cole. Like, you told me about it. And he's like, no, I never told you. So at this point, Cole knows that something's up. So she comes over with a hook and she slits Boom Boom's neck and kills Boom Boom, and her blood is just spewing everywhere. At this rate, Cole was like freaked out because he's like, great, it's fucking happening again. And then Melanie's going off on Diego, saying that he was supposed to take his drugs, get him drunk, and like pass out. And then they collect his blood because that worked the first time, right? And at this rate, all the old people come back. So we see Max, we see John, we see Sonia, we see Allison, all come back. All the actresses from the last movie that all died are alive again, and they're back. They're back for one night only to fulfill this ritual, and then they get to be alive again. So basically, they get another shot at doing it all again. And he's like, kind of, I saw you guys die. Like, I saw your head get blown off and stuff, to Allison. And he's like, and then at the end, John goes, we're back. And yep, and everybody's back, and he's like freaked out, and he's like, what the fuck? And at this point, it pans over to the door, and Phoebe walks in, opens the door, and he's like, oh, and I knew you were weird and you were part of it, and yelling at her. And she was like, okay, so I see you guys are busy. So I was just looking for gas for my jet ski, but I see you guys are busy, so I'm gonna let you go. And then she leaves. Cole is able to climb up to the top. Like, he uses the hook that was killed Boom Boom to throw it at Allison's head, and it hits her. That she's like, oh, ow, and then they're all like focusing in on her. Cole uses his time to crawl up on the boat, slide down the slide, and get on the jet ski with Phoebe. And he's like, go, 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 go. So she guns it. They get onto the side of the island. Then it pans over to the other people, and they're talking about, like, Ray, like, shit's about to get fucked again. This is what happened last time and stuff. And Melanie's like, calm down. Like, it's not going to happen again because I'm here and things are going to be done better and more efficient and stuff. And then they go outside. They see that there is a trail of gas to the jet ski. Phoebe and him pull over, like, on the side of the island. And so I can't remember who was Sonia or Melanie. Sorry, I can't double check that for you guys, but it was either one of them that lights a match to the jet ski, and it blows up the jet ski, and Cole and Phoebe kind of go, like, flying a little bit, and then Phoebe gets up and just, like, walks off without him, because at first Cole was like, oh, what are we gonna do? Like, what's our plan? And da-da-da-da-da. And Phoebe's like, I'm going to my lake house. Well, my cabin, and I have, like, a mission of my own, and they're not coming after me. They're coming after you. So bye, pretty much. So she ditches him. And after the smoke, Cole gets up, realizes she's gone. So he starts heading in the direction that she left. She stumbles across this man that's, like, at a campfire himself. And she's like, hey, could you help me? Could you give me a ride back to where I need to go? The guy is like, yeah, no problem. Like, sit down by the fire, like, while my wife is getting more firewood, and when she comes back, I'll take you a minute. And, you know, things are a little creepy. And he's like, yeah, sit down, like, come closer to the fire and stuff. So now she's, like, sitting right next to him, and she's like, okay, like, when is your wife gonna get back? And he's like, oh no, she left me, like, several years ago. And then he starts trying to grope her, pretty much, like, touch her and stuff. So then Cole catches up. He ties his shoelaces together, and then he, like, pops up, and he's like, oh, I love s'mores. Like, what are we happening? And stuff. And the guy was like, oh, you can leave, kind of thing. To him, like, we're busy. And so he grabs Phoebe, and they make a run for it to the man's car. And the man tries to get up to run after him, but because Cole had tied his shoes together, he falls. And so the guy's kind of, like, cursing him out. This is when Sonia comes out, and we see a little bit. What's nice about this movie is we see a little glimpses of their past, like the day that they signed up on the Devil's Book. So we see Sonia, like, working in a morgue, and then B pops up, and she pops up and she's, like, telling her to sign the book, and Sonia's like, I always knew you'd come for me, type of thing. And then it goes back to Sonia, and Sonia uses a flame, I think it's like a flame thrower or something like that, and she kills the rapist. And while that's happening, Phoebe and Cole are in the car, and Sonia's about to get them with the flamethrower thing. And oh wow, it is raining really bad outside right now. That's good because there was a wildfire in Canada. We are not Canadian. I know a lot of people from Josh's other podcast think he's Canadian for some reason, that he's because of the way he talks, but I don't feel like he sounds Canadian, but who knows? I mean, he is my husband and I know he's American, so. But anyways, Canada had a wildfire as they do almost every year around July, and the smoke and the ashes always linger this way. And then the air quality is like shit for a few days. But now it's raining, really pouring, and that always happens. It's so weird. It's almost like it's regulated. But I don't know. That's my conspiracy. Maybe Josh and Joe will cover that over at their podcast of Conspiracy Kitchens. They did do sleep paralysis and everything. Josh did talk about my story the first time that I got sleep paralysis. They think that the figure that's seen in the corner is good, but I don't think so because I wouldn't be freaked out if I felt like he was good, but like apparently a lot of people across the board see the same figure. And I thought that was pretty interesting to take because when Josh was describing what he thought I saw, I was like, how the fuck do you know? And he was like, yeah, like there's a lot of research and stuff of people saying that they see the same type of figure of like a really tall. Anyways, let's get back into this. Let's just get rid of that. No bad energy. Get it out. I'm going to sleep very well tonight. And that's that. I'm going to give my cats little forehead kisses and we're going to be all good. So I had locked myself in the second room. So we have 2 rooms in our condo. And to get some separation from the cats because they can be a little loud and rowdy, I put myself in the room by myself. So I thought I put myself in the room by myself to record. And one of the cats slipped through. So Millie is in here, but Millie, she's just chilling right now. She's not complaining. She's not trying to get out of the room. So thank God for that, because that would suck if she starts crying. You guys hear her crying to get out of the room. So far the other cats have been good too, like not trying to get in the room, because sometimes if you know anything about cats or if you own cats, they don't like closed doors. They feel like they own the household and they want to know what you're doing at all times and they want to be included into whatever activity that you're doing. Especially my girls, they always want to insert themselves into what I'm doing or what Josh is doing. It is that orange cat energy. They all are orange. Well, our girls are. Our boys are gray with mixtured stripes of black. They're beautiful looking too. They're just skittish and scared, unlike my girls. But anyways, to get back into it, that's your little cat snippet of the day, because no episode goes unheard without anything cat related in our episodes, because we are extreme cat lovers in this household. Getting back into it, so Phoebe and Cole like take the man's car and then they run over Sonia, and then Cole puts the car in reverse to run over Sonia again, and then she's not dead and she's like fuck you, Cole, like what are you doing type of thing. So he hits the car and drive again, hits Sonia. Sonia is now on the hood of the car, and Phoebe's like, get her off of the car. And he's like, I'm trying. He goes in full circles to try to get her off of the car, and then finally hits into a big, like, side of a big, huge rock or side of a mountain or something. And then I guess the rapist car, like, had a surfboard on it, and it just like slides down and decapitates Sonia, and now she's dead. So then Cole tries to back up the car, gets himself stuck on a huge rock, and then they hear the rest of the crew coming over to meet them. So they get out of the car, they go under the car to hide, and then you see the rest of them, and then the old people, the old cast is like, oh man, shit's about to be fucked. He's smart, he's older, this is what happened last time, things are about to get fucked. Melanie's like, shut up. And they're going back and forth with each other, like her group, her and the guys that are with her are calling their group old, and they're calling them babies, like each other. And then they start saying that they're gonna do teams now. So it's gonna be old school versus new school, even though old school was not old at all. But they were like, yeah, making jokes and stuff about them being old. And then they were making jokes about them being like Teletubby children and stuff. And they were like, all right, well, we'll split up and whoever wins, wins type of thing to get Cole. So they split up. The old crew goes off to go look for Cole. The new crew kind of like lingers. They hear them kind of like under the car. A snake kind of climbed up Cole's pants, but then he was able to like take the snake out, that it jumped out at them, and then Melanie was like, stop fucking around, like, let's go type of thing. So then we cut to, let's see where we cut to. I wrote a couple notes so I would remember. So anyways, we cut to old school going to find him, and Max is like, Coley, calling him, running around to find him. Allison like lays on a big rock, and she's like, you know what, you guys go find him. The last time I got my boob blown up, I don't want to get involved type of thing, so you guys go and get him. Like, these shoes aren't made for walking and running around, so you guys go fetch him. And then Max is like, fine, like, we'll go get him, like, no problem. So she stays there. Then it comes back to Cole and Phoebe talking, and Phoebe's like, you know, thanks for saving me, sorry I ditched you. Cole tells her like what's a little bit more of what's happening. They're having a little bit of a conversation about things, and then they run into, they see a little bunny come out and they jump, but then we all know Allison is right there. So Allison comes out, she starts shooting at them, and the bullets are ricocheting, so you kind of already like can foreshadow what is about to happen. But then we see a little snippet of Allison right before she signed up in the Devil's Book, and it cuts to a scene where she's trying to be a journalist, but like a fuckable journalist. And she was like interviewing, and the person that was interviewing her was like, yeah, I don't think I'll be calling you. And then she starts having a tantrum, and then B comes out and says, basically, like, oh, do you really want to become a journalist? And what would you do to become one? And then she offers her to sign the book, pretty much. And then it goes back to present time, and she starts shooting and everything. And then she ends up shooting her boob again. And she's like, no, not my boob again. They start saying, oh, you could, like, what if you save us? Like, you could be a great journalist. I could see it now, headlines and stuff. And then she was like, no, too bad, like, and starts shooting at them. And so they start taking off running. They jump a little bit of a cliff, a tiny, tiny one, not anything too crazy. Well, Allison's boobs and body gets stuck in between the cliff, and she's just dangling. And she's like, oh my God, help, guys, help. Like, first of all, like, you're trying to kill him. And then she's calling Cole a pervert. She's like, I know you're staring at my ass. So Phoebe and Cole go and start pulling at her legs down. And she's like, ow, ow, ow. And somehow her head gets decapitated too. Again, this is comedy horror, so, I don't think her head would have actually. And then Max finally comes out, and, Max comes out with an axe. And then you see Max's little flashback, and he's working at a fast food chain restaurant. And there's like a Karen like complaining to him, and he just like, you could see his intrusive thoughts wanting to take the fry grill and just like throw it at her. And then B comes out and was like, oh, so you want to kill people type of thing? And yep. And that's Max signing up for the Devil Book. So I thought that was pretty cool. Like, we got like that little background for all of the other people and stuff. So anyways, that happens. Max tries to, go at them. And this time, because if you remember correctly to the last movie, Cole was running away from Max, falls to the ground and tries to hit him in the nuts and misses him. This time, Cole goes and hits him in the nuts and actually gets Max in the nuts. And Max is like, oh, you actually got my dick this time, Cole. Like, good one. I'm proud of you type of thing. They run off. Then we see Max, John meet up with the younger kids like Melanie and Diego and Jimmy, and they're talking about how to get them like the best ideas and stuff. And Diego and Jimmy are like, I'm out, like, I didn't sign up for this. And they were like, no, this is exactly what you signed up for type of thing. And Diego's like, oh, but I have an escape room to go to tomorrow. Like, I'm tired. Basically, I want to go home, and I thought this would be over. Like, you said we would just drink some blood and we'd be good type of thing. And Melanie basically tells him, like, there's no being out. And then Diego and Jimmy are like, oh, watch us. So they walk off. They explode, because if you make a deal with the devil, you have to complete the deal with the devil. If not, like, you're just going to explode. So they explode. So now you see Phoebe and Cole run over to a boat to leave. Actually, yeah, pretty much. You see them run over to a boat, and they're trying to like take the boat, and there's a guy saying, hey, that's my rental. What are you doing? The boat says Jenny on the top of it, and then Max comes out and he was like, oh, Jenny, I like that song. It's from like I think it was like 1981 or something like that. So they punch that code into the boat and it works. So they take off. And then Max grabs onto the line to go with them. And then he starts kind of making his way back to the boat to get them. And Phoebe is able to spray him with silly string. That I think Cole had silly string for whatever reason. But anyway, she was able to spray him with silly string because it was like very flammable. And then he got burned, but he was still like under the water, like he was still grabbed onto the thing. So they hit like the engine and he started getting crushed up. So they hit it twice, and then Max just gets crushed up and killed. And Yep. And then Max is like, oh, I'm not even mad, kind of thing. Like, good for you, Cole, type of thing. And he gets killed. He gets blown up. Then Melanie is left with John, and she was like, do you want to, like, quit too? Basically, because after that, he saw Diego and Jimmy blown up, and John was like, oh, no, I'm staying put. Like, I'm good, like, type of thing. Like, don't blow me up. So he basically was like, all right, what do you have in mind, type of thing, because Cole is insane and he's smarter and older now. So she was like, we're just gonna wait. Like, we have plan B. So she goes into plan B. Melanie pulls out a phone, calls Cole's dad, and she's like, oh, hi. Like, she's just acting really sweet. And she's like, yeah, like, I lost him. And, he's going crazy. He's having an episode. I think we drank too much and stuff. Do you think you can come get us? And stuff. And while that's happening, I forgot to mention that the parents had went over to their neighbors when Cole ditched too, because they knew that he ditched with Melanie. They were like, do you have any idea like where your daughter would be? And he's like, no, sometimes kids go and stuff. She ditches all the time and stuff. And then the mom's like, oh, but what about your other baby? And then he was like, lady, what do you mean? I don't have another baby. And it pans over to his car and he's like, where the fuck is she? So they call the cops and everything. And this happened earlier in the movie. I just forgot to mention it to you guys. So sorry. So I'm just going to mention it to you guys really quick right now. But they pan over to, calling the police. The police is like, they'll probably return. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, again, his parents are kind of like overbearing. The dad is kind of more chill about it. It was like, yeah, like, this is good that he left. He's out with Melanie, like, they're drinking, they went down to the lake, it sounds good. But the mom is, like, more like, no, like, things are not okay and stuff. So the dad ends up staying back with Melanie's dad, Juan, and the mom goes back home, and they end up playing video games and getting high, even though the mom was like, you better not get high, don't get high. But she goes and he gets high. Anyways, he gets that. So now we're coming back to where we were. Sorry for that scramble of a mess there. But anyways, we get back into it. We see, if you heard Nilly meowing, like, now she's trying to get attention from me. Or little bells. So I just have to give her pets a minute. So she's okay. Okay. Alrighty. Oh, she's being so sweet right now. She's like rubbing up on me like, hi, Mom. So, yeah, Melanie basically tells Cole's dad to come get them and meet them there at the lake. So they start driving. The, the, the mom calls the dad, and they're like really high in the car. Like, him and Melanie's dad are really high in the car. And she was like, are you high? And he's just trying to dodge the question the whole time. But he basically was like, oh, Cole's fine. Like, he's down at the lake. Just gotta go pick him up. Not a big deal. Type of thing. So they're on their way. Then John, it was like, now what? What do we do? And Melanie's like, we wait. And he was like, what do you mean we wait? Like, sunrise is gonna happen soon. I forgot to mention that they only have today to complete this task. If not, they die again. And yep. So Melanie's like, trust me, like, we'll wait. Like, I get things done. Like, stick around with me. I get things done. Well, this is happening. We cut to Phoebe and Cole. They've made it to the cabin. Cole at first is like, oh, I really have to pee. Do you have a bathroom? And she's like, I have an outhouse outside. And he's like, oh, no, I don't think that's safe. So she's like, okay, then just pee wherever. And he was like, he made her turn around to give him privacy. And he starts peeing in a pot. And then out of nowhere, it just like zooms into her face and she looks like she's scared. And then she like jumps out at him, which why would you do that to a man that's peeing? Because, anyways, he whips back around and like his pee hits her in the eye. And she was like, oh, nope, that was my fault, type of thing. Like, that was on me, type of thing. I would have been grossed out. But first of all, don't do that to a guy. So they go down to, she has like a little bunker in her cabin that I guess used to be her little playroom area. So earlier in the movie, she talks about how she wanted to be Alice from Alice in Wonderland. And the basement is all whimsical with like Alice looking things and tea party things and little figurines and stuff. And it looks like they're about to kiss, and then he kind of avoids kissing her at first. Like he goes over and he's like, oh neat, like a stereo, like how many times do we get to see or play one of those before it like completely dies? So he plays it, and then that song that goes, jump on it, jump on it, jump on it. I don't know what the song's name is. Sorry, starts playing. They end up making out, and then it goes over to this like cringy little scene of all the characters dancing, and it's just like different little scenes. And yeah, and then it cuts back to them talking, and then she's like, I'm surprised you're a good kisser. And he was like, yeah, like I had a little bit of practice, and starts telling him a little bit about Melanie and stuff. And then she starts telling her story. And he was like, yeah, but I have bad picks in women. I tend to pick women that like are murderous, which I thought was kind of funny. And then at that point, she was like, well, I guess your streak still stands, because she blames herself for killing her parents because she had left her stuffed animal down by the beach, and I guess the parents went to go pick it up, and she also went to go pick it up, and they both crashed their cars into each other and tumbled down a cliff, and she was the only one that survived at this point. So she blames herself for killing her parents. She was like, if I never left my stuffed animal or anything, like kids, they blame themselves for things that are out of their control, especially something like that. They have a moment. Then it cuts to dad and Juan reaching Melanie, and Melanie's like, has this amazing facade going and saying like, yeah, like, he's crazy. He's talking about like killing and stuff. And she was like, he's in there. He's in the cabin. I think you should go in by yourself. Like, I don't think I should go in because he thinks I'm about to kill him or something and stuff. But like, he's really scaring me. And he was like, don't worry. Like, I'm going to solve this. Goes in. Her dad goes and asks her, like, basically, like, my car better be okay. Like, I'm going to get my attorney involved. And she just rolls her eyes. So they go into the cabin. They start calling Cole. They tell him to come out. So Cole is like, that's my dad. It might be a trap, but if it is my dad, like, I need my dad to be safe, type of thing. So they go up with weapons, at least, because luckily her dad had kept all of his weapons and guns and stuff like down there for access, but she needed a code. But luckily, that like little ransom note that was left for her that said it ends tonight contained the code, so they were able to unlock the safe and get what they needed and then go up. And this is when you see, well, John pops out and he was like, get away from him. He's, you know, he's bad and everything. Then we see John's story, little story of him in a studio, like singing like really, really bad, really, really bad. But he wanted to go platinum. And then B comes in and says, oh, you want to go platinum? And then you see that he signed the Devil's Book. So then, so they run out. I think they run outside, like basically to run away because Melanie at this point comes in. John gets killed by, how the fuck? John gets killed, by like this. It was, I don't know. It was like this, I don't remember. Kind of like a chandelier, but it was like with, I couldn't even tell you, but he gets killed. Because I don't know what that's called. So anyways, you gotta watch the movie to know. But he gets killed, and then it's just Melanie, and Cole's like freaking out from him, and then the dad is like, you need to calm down, like we need to go home, everything. So he runs out. The dad grabs Melanie and says, like, there better not be any scratches on my car and everything. Melanie just kills him right there and then with like a machete, her father, and he was like, you're grounded, no Coachella for you. I'm gonna take your IUD out. Which is insane. Then he gets fully killed by Melanie. Cole tells Phoebe to run and was like, I gotta get my dad, but I will find you, type of thing. Dad finds him, and dad is like comforting him and saying like, okay, like we gotta go home. And he's like, no, you don't understand. We have to save him. And he's like, okay, like I know. They hug. Dad sticks him with a needle to pretty much knock him out. Gets him in the car. They start driving away. He's unconscious. He goes to call the mom and tell him like, yeah, we're headed home. And they stop at a gas station. Dad gets out of the car. Cole is like still sleeping in the passenger seat, but he starts kind of waking up from it. So the car that he's driving locked itself. So the dad starts banging on the windows and says, hey Cole, like open the doors, let me in. So Cole jumps over to the driver's seat, rolls down the window a little bit and says, you don't understand, I love her, so I'm gonna go and save her, and I need to save her. And the dad's like, listen, just open the door, we can talk about this, type of thing. And then he just leaves him at the gas station. So, yep, so now he goes back. Then there's like this Mortal Kombat fight scene, basically. That's what it kind of reminds me of Melanie and Phoebe, of them like beating each other up. But at the end, Melanie captures Phoebe, then tries to tell her like to join her. Doesn't happen. So she was like, all right, then you're beat then, because he'll come back for you. Ties up Phoebe, and then there's like this whole like little ritual thing looking thing that's about to happen. And Cole comes back. Well, he calls first. He calls Melanie and he's like, where is she? And Melanie gives him the address and was like, be here in 20 minutes or she dies. So he comes, he walks in, he storms in, and he's like, just let her go. Take my blood. I don't care. Like, I'm over this shit, pretty much. And then this is when Melanie's like, yeah, not before she comes. So this is where B comes out of the water now, and Phoebe goes, B? And Cole goes, wait, you recognize her? And Phoebe goes, she was my babysitter. And Cole goes, she was my babysitter. And she goes, hi, Phoebe, hi, Cole, kind of thing. And then this is when Cole is like betrayed. He's like, I should have known. I should have seen this coming. Like, should have known it was you all along. So then Melanie goes to collect. And then he was like, all right, well, then take my blood here. I don't care. I'm over this shit. Just take it. Melanie comes, takes his blood. They put together the blood of the sacrifice, which was Boom Boom, beginning, and the blood of an innocent. They mix it up, the concoction, and they give it to every single person at this point. Max, Allison, John, Sonia come back for this ritual. They all line up. They start drinking from the blood, and then they all of a sudden start not feeling well. And they were like, I don't feel so well. I'm feeling hot and stuff. At first, they were like, nothing's happening. Then they weren't feeling well. And then they all start like throwing up and burning and stuff. And then this is when B is like, because B is the only one who didn't take any of the blood yet, and was basically like, so a blood of a sacrifice and a blood of an innocent. And this is when Sonia's like, the blood is tainted. And Melanie's like, no, he's a virgin. Like, I can guarantee you he is a virgin. And then she was like, you're not so innocent anymore, I see, pretty much. And should I tell them? And then they all start dying and blowing up and burning up and everything. And right before Max dies, he's like, he's like, uh, pretty much like, I'm not even mad, like, like, good for you, you stud, like, type of thing. They all die. Then B goes, unties Phoebe. They have like a little reunion. And then Phoebe's like, I thought you died, in the car. And then this is when you see that when Phoebe was young, she was the babysitter, and they had the accident all together in the car, and she's woken up in the hospital, and in the hospital B is the only one that is alive, and asks the nurse what happened to the little girl. Is she still alive? And they're like, barely, not for much longer. And this is when basically the devil says, what would you do to save her? Would you do anything? And that is where you see that B basically signed the book of the devil to save Phoebe. So this is where they find out that. And then it cuts back to a flashback of Cole and B, of her getting run over by the car. And she was like, you changed me that night. So basically, she rigged everything in hopes that the right girl will come along for Cole, and, and things might happen. So it was like a chance that she was willing to take. And basically Cole was like, how did you know that I would? And she was like, I didn't, but I just hoped that if the right girl came along, that things would happen. So they're all like happy. I think Cole's dad finally gets there, and he's like, oh, okay, like, nice to see you. Like, hey, B, like, how you doing and stuff. Oh, let me go down to you guys. And B's like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. You've raised a fine young man, type of thing. So dad comes down to meet them, and they're all like hugging and everything. And then B goes take care of each other, and she grabs the blood to drink, and they were like, "Wait, what? Like, where are you going? Like, what do you mean?" And she basically says there's only one winner. There's only winners or losers, and I'm the last demon to go. But care of each other. Like, Cole starts crying. He's like, there has to be another way. And B smiles at him and says goodbye, Phoebe, and bye, C. And then he does bye, B. And she takes the wine glass and she basically gets all destroyed, and there's smoke and everything everywhere, and then disappears. And the dad is like, "Holy shit, did you see that?" type of thing, and realizes that Cole this whole time was not lying. And he was like, "Oh, so you weren't crazy this whole time?" And he's like, "Not that I told your mom that you were crazy, but um." So then Phoebe and Cole kiss, and the dad takes out his phone, and he's a creep. He takes a picture. He's like, "Yeah, I got to send this to your mom," type of thing, and then calls her. And then it cuts to him with his nurse dash guidance counselor, um, talking about basically that he was right, that all he needed to do was just get laid. And basically that's how it ends. And you know how there's always an after credit type of scene? So the after credit scene was just like the devil book appearing again. And that's it. And roll credits, and it is done. And yeah, so I really like that film. Again, it didn't look like it was well liked as I thought, with that 46% Rotten Tomatoes rating and that 57% rating of, you know, audience view. I guess like it was like a 50-50 kind of thing for people, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, and I really enjoyed the first one, and I really enjoyed this one too, so you guys should definitely check it out. Samara Weaving is amazing, as you know her from the Ready or Not franchise. Definitely watch that too, because I believe Ready or Not 2 is on Hulu for you guys to watch. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and end it here for you guys. Last couple notes. Just a reminder, we are on Apple Podcast, Amazon, YouTube, and even Instagram. I am not good at posting on Instagram, but I'm gonna try. I will try. I will get it down to a science one day. Samara Weaving has another movie that's out that I definitely want to watch. It's called Not Over My Dead Body. So probably when I get off here, I'm going to go ahead and watch that. I do hear that Josh got home right now. Hopefully he makes me some food. Josh is an amazing cook dash chef, and I personally, I hate cooking. I will cook if I need to. My food does slap when I do cook, but Josh definitely does most of the cooking at home, and I love it. I am a spoiled princess at home, and I love it. Don't worry, we will be back on Wednesday or Thursday with our supernatural episode of Josh's choosing, because we're still doing the wheel. We're still reviewing together weekly, and stick around because a single episode of Josh might come out, like of a solo episode of his. So hopefully you'll like his sweet, sweet voice too. I personally love it, but again, he is my husband, so chose him for reasons. And hopefully you enjoyed my solo episode. I hope to get better as time goes on for you guys. Hopefully this one was good for you guys. I tried my best, so please be kind and patient with me. But yeah, have a good night or have a good day, whatever time you're listening to me. And thank you so much. Bye, guys.